You're about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
Welcome back to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DAHLIA, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So one of my listeners says that they aren't really into football, but they love the Super Bowl ads, and that's what they love to watch during Super Bowl. And that's good. I'm usually in the potty, or I'm usually going up to get more dip. My favorite Super Bowl food, by the way, is French onion dip, chips and French onion dip. I could eat that all day long. I don't digest onions well anymore. I usually need Beano, which is an enzyme that you could get over the counter. But I could eat French onion dip on my cereal. I could eat it on, I just love French onion dip. And the chips has to have the extra surface area, like those, are they not Lay's? Ruffles? Ripple? What are the ones that have all the ridges? Those, and they have extra surface area because of all the different ridges. So it the Lay's, those are just too flat. And I really like to get my French onion dip, really entrenched and up and down in all those little curves. And so Pringles are good. You can eat them without, but anyway, that's what I look forward to with Super Bowl and the football. But these ads, oh my gosh. We're being told that a 30-second ad is $8 million. $8 to $10 million per ad. Now, there's going to be the usual customary ones. Dunkin' with Ben Affleck. I think T-Mobile is going to have the Backstreet Boys and Drewski. There's going to be, from what we're being told, a weight loss drug that Novo Nordisk is going to advertise and use Super Bowl to do. The pharmaceutical companies have the money to advertise during Super Bowl. So, Toyota, T-Mobile, let me see, Blue Square Alliance Against Hate. That's from Robert Kraft's foundation. Very cool. He gets us to remind us that Jesus is there for us. I love those. I think that's fantastic. I really, people have been kind of mixed on how much should religion be in TV and movies, but I gotta tell you, when it speaks to somebody, having family members that have found Jesus and that have are converting, and we have a Judeo-Christian family where my roots are Jewish, but we have multiple family members who are Catholic and Christian. When we have a person who doesn't find religion and who and they're. And, we see them struggle. It's amazing to see what reached out to them and what gave them that compass, that course. And, many of us are very scientifically minded. So I understand why there are people who are atheists. I understand why there are people who are agnostic. But I'm a person of faith. With all my scientific background, for me, there's a God. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. I've not seen him, but he has spoken to me. I've seen miracles and things that he's done. He's answered my prayers. And hey, it doesn't hurt. Believe in it. I mean, what do I got to lose? So the He Gets Us ads they're beautiful. Why not have them a part of the Super Bowl? I think that's fantastic. Apparently Dunkin' Donuts is also going to have Jennifer Aniston and Matt LeBlanc from Friends, Jason Alexander from Seinfeld, trying to capture that 1990s nostalgia. We're seeing a lot of these ads also start incorporating AI to save money. They're not going to, I think they're still going to have, like George Clooney, they're still going to spend big bucks on these actors. But one thing I'm noticing a lot is you're starting to see the groupings from old sitcoms and like Scrubs. When you start to see Turk and JD in these T-Mobile commercials, it's one thing to just have one of them, but the draw of both of them together, very smart, very cool. So you're seeing that. You saw Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer in last year's, I think Uber Eats. Was it Uber Eats or was it? Yeah, I forget one of those commercials. And so, trying to bring back, although I didn't really like that commercial because she didn't recognize him. And I know everybody thought that was kind of funny, but for those of you who just, went through a whole decade of Ross and Rachel, you're like, I don't know if I'm really buying that. I also find it difficult to see your childhood stars age. It depresses me a little bit. I'm of the age group of Friends. So they're my age. They're a little older than me, but they're my age. And so when I see them age, I'm like, do I look like that? Interestingly, Jason Alexander, I believe, has scleroderma. And that's why Jason Alexander, who played George Costanza in Seinfeld, still looks so young. Scleroderma offers very smooth skin. It's a connective tissue disorder, and we've spoken about it on the show before, but you're going to see him, and he looks fantastic. But part of that reason is because of the scleroderma. And interestingly, Jason Alexander did an episode on Seinfeld about his hands. Remember where he had, it was, I think it was the Master, no. It wasn't the Master My Domain episode, but it was the episode where he was being asked to be a hand model, and they brought up an allusion to the Master My Domain episode. He had beautiful hands, and as a medical student, I'm like, I wonder if he has scleroderma. So interesting. So I think he's confirmed that. I have to double check that. So Super Bowl ads, pretty expensive. They're still paying a lot for star talent, but we're going to see a lot more AI because the average Super Bowl ad is costing $20 to $30 million to make. That's including the buy-in fee. Many of these advertisers may, on a limited budget, decide to use more AI. The ads do pack a punch, but if you really think about it, it's good advertising because then all these articles and media outlets will say, well, let's rank the best from the worst. And so your commercial gets played extra, and that's where there's that money. But are you going to go and buy Doritos? Are you going to go and buy Dunkin' Donuts while you're in the middle of a Super Bowl party and Ben Affleck is there? Probably not. But it shows you're one of the big guys if you have a Super Bowl ad. And Dunkin' is rebranded. It's not Dunkin' Donuts anymore. It's Dunkin'. So they're working on that whole rebranding thing. They do have good donuts. Don't go away. We'll be right back. 1-877 Doc Dolly. Hey guys, it's Dr. Dahlia. Fantasy football season is coming, but sadly, too many of you are taking the bench while the country takes part in one of the most exciting and lucrative industries out there. Don't know how to play? Well, huddle up and listen. Paul Kalikas and I have written a fantasy football pocket guide for beginners. This book walks you through the basics and shows you how simple and lucrative joining or creating a fantasy football team can be. Read our fantasy football pocket guide for beginners found on Amazon or follow the links on X and Facebook. That's Fantasy Football Pocket Guides for Beginners. Don't be left out.
Increase fuel economy up to 7.9% with Hot Shot Secret Gasoline Extreme, the solution to maximize your engine's performance and fuel economy. Whether you're driving a sports car or a daily commuter, Gasoline Extreme is specially formulated with PEA to deep clean. Don't settle for an average driving experience. Upgrade to Hot Shot Secret Gasoline Extreme and go further on each tank. Order now on Amazon or HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Let's face it, guys, we're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's Aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at Aftermath.media. Again, that's Aftermath.media.
And we're back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dahlia, 1-877 DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. And big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So for those of you about to head to the pharmacy, you might want to go to TrumpRx.com. I'm taking a look at some of the drugs on there, pretty significant savings. As you know, President Trump has been fighting against the ridiculously high prices we've had to spend on medications, more than what the UK spends, more than what Canada spends, more than what Mexico spends. And Trump has worked with these pharmaceutical companies saying, no, we are not going to be paying more than other developed countries. We are going to get the best price. And so as a result, he's made a site that's very similar to GoodRx. GoodRx, I'm really, really grateful for, where before you go to get your prescription, you could go to GoodRx, you could get a coupon, and depending on what type of insurance you have, some people might not be able to use those coupons, some people can, and it really brings down the price of the drug. And so Trump, according to the White House now, launched yesterday, the TrumpRx.gov. We were just talking about it yesterday, how it hadn't been launched yet, and we weren't sure when. They made an announcement yesterday. And so they've worked with, now hold on, they want me to, there's all these pop-ups here. Come on, man. I'm trying to read your website here, but it looks like they have worked with AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, EMD Serono, Novo Nordisk to make these deals in order to bring down the price of medications. And some of these include brands that many of you are using, like fertility medications, fertility drugs, diabetes medication, an inhaler for COPD, asthma, atopic dermatitis, Eucrisia for eczema. Very expensive on TrumpRx.com, cheaper. So the one moment here. Let me get, I want to get this pop-up out because unfortunately the White House is also doing the same, type of pop-out stuff. And so they won't let you read the article. And thank you for this, but I don't want to keep seeing, can I please see the article? All right. Well, you know what? Let me just go straight to the website. So when you go to the website of TrumpRx.com, it says you can buy your medications at the lowest cash prices. So Wegovy now has a pill. And GoodRx is charging for this pill $199 for the lower dosing of the pill. TrumpRx has it now at $149 a month. Okay. Now, the shot, the Wegovy shot, I think they have that at $199. They show what the list price is. So let's say you're getting the Wegovy pen, right, for weight loss, all right, the semaglutide. They pre-filled pen at the strength of the 0.25, 0.5. Original price is $1,300. They say they're saving you $1,150. Able to get that for you at $199. Now, for those of you who take the higher dosing of it, it's at $349, still a lot cheaper. They say it's a limited time offer. Just like with GoodRx, new patients pay $199 for the first 2 monthly fills of the semaglutide injection, then $349 a month, only available for 2 monthly fills between November 17th, 2025 and March 31st, 2026. For future fills and for other Wegovy dose strengths, you would pay $349 a month. Now, $349 is still a pretty penny, but it's cheaper than what Costco is charging now at $500. It's cheaper than what the manufacturer is charging at the $500 or the $499 a month. So there is some significant saving. Now, we spoke about this yesterday. Pulling together $349 a month is a lot of money. I mean, make sure you're doctor supervised or nurse practitioner or PA supervised if you're going to be using these medications because they're still a pretty penny. But that is a significant savings. They say you are confirmed you are not enrolled in insurance from any government, state, or federally funded medical or prescription benefits program. You can use this if you have private insurance. If you redeem this coupon, you are not to seek reimbursement from any insurance plan for out-of-pocket costs for prescriptions used with this coupon. You also agree not to count the cost of prescriptions toward your deductible or true out-of-pocket costs. So they give you the BIN number, the PCN number, the group number, the member ID number, and they say that most retail pharmacies accept this. So let's look at some of the drugs on Trump RX. You got your Cetrotide, your Bevespi, your Toviaz, your Duavi, your Eucresia for eczema, Gonal F, starting at $168. This is for fertility. That stuff is expensive. 83% off. It's about $1,000 a month that they got down to $168. Your Zepbound is at $299. Ovidrel Zigduo for diabetes, Airspura, Abrilava, Prempro. Hormones are now cheaper. Genotropin for hormones, Estring, Protonix. For those of you on acid reflux medication, they got Protonix priced down. Prestique, your Premarin, Levoxel for your thyroid, Cortef, Farxiga, Colestid, Zerontin, Chantix. Chantix is a pretty penny for smoking cessation. They got that price down. Your Chantix, $94.34. Nicotrol, Cytomel for your thyroid. The Diflucan tablets for yeast. They got it about 50% off. Lopid for your cholesterol, Medrol, steroids at about $3. Premarin vaginal cream, Zyvox, very expensive antibiotic. They got that price at half price. Viracept, Cleocin. They got antibiotics and also insulin. They got insulin Lispro at $25. When we look at the insulin, they say that's about 65% off from Eli Lilly and Company. So they do give the pharmaceutical company credit, which they should. And then they ask you for, do you want the vial, what strength, what size, how many? And so let's say I want to increase it to 4 instead of 1, only $35 a month. In fact, Trump was the original president to get insulin prices down to $35 a month. Then that got reversed with an executive order when Biden came in. Then Biden brought it back down to $35 a month. And so Trump wants to get credit for that. So this TrumpRx.com, it's impressive. And I when I compare some of the prices to GoodRx, it is cheaper. What GoodRx does, there's a benefit to that, is it compares your pharmacies. Because GoodRx, I noticed, with some of the pharmacies, it may be a little cheaper than others. But with TrumpRx, it looks like it's pharmacy-wide. So that could be very, very advantageous. So more drugs are going to be added from what we understand. And this is something that is huge. The pharmaceutical companies have, for a very, very long time, screwed America over. And, we should not be paying more than other countries. And this is something that listeners kept asking me, why are medications more expensive in America than Mexico? Why? And it's because Americans will pay for it. When you have Americans spending $1,000 a month, and I know some of you are upset that this didn't happen sooner because you have been spending $1,000 a month on your Ozempic. Well, hopefully you don't have to spend $1,000 a month anymore. It sounds like the max it's going to be is about $350, and I thought I read last year that by the summer it was going to be down to $275 a month. Still a pretty penny for weight loss medication that might not be permanent, but you should be able to save. So I think this is huge. I do, and I think this is long overdue. It's a shame it's taken this long. And I know Trump has a lot of fans, and he also has a lot of critics. But one thing I give credit to President Trump is he knows how to make deals, and to be able to get these pharmaceutical companies to offer their medications cheaper and eat into their profits. That took some work. I don't understand why Obama didn't also have that power. I don't understand why Biden didn't. Why not? You want to help, middle class. You want to help lower income individuals. This is something that was a no-brainer. And unless not everybody can make a deal, for some reason these pharmaceutical companies wanted Trump's business. And the funny thing is they're getting business now. For those individuals who said, I can't afford these drugs, I can't spend $1,000 a month, now they're looking at this website going, Okay, maybe now I could buy it. So I think these pharmaceutical companies aren't stupid. I think they realize that they are going to hit a bigger market. And that's probably the art of the deal, where they're realizing they're actually going to make more money. They're going to look like good guys. They're going to look like heroes. And in fact, Eli Lilly's stock has skyrocketed. Novo Nordisk is going to be launching a ad during Super Bowl with one of their new medications. We'll see if that shows up on Trump RX. So it just launched within the last 24 hours. More drugs are supposed to be added. Check it out. See if you can save some money. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regeneration. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Welcome back to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. So, interestingly, many of you are going to go to a Super Bowl party, and this is going to be the first game you saw all year. More and more people are watching football, and that's good. But, you go for the food, you go for the ads. I go for the football, and I take it seriously. I got money on the game, although I had the futures, so luckily I won no matter what. So I'm going to be like, have fun. But I'm probably going to throw more money at the game just because I like having some skin in the game, and I come from a gambling family, but I know my limits. One of my favorite things to bid on is the grid or the square. So some of you are going to be going to a party, and they're going to be bringing out this big grid, this square, where you have all these numbers. And you're going to be told to throw in money, $20 and get 4 squares, maybe $5 a square, or it's $10 a square. And you're going to be like, well, I don't know what to do. And the guy running the square, it's always a guy, right? Just pick some numbers. It really doesn't matter. Just pick some numbers. And you're like, well, I don't get it. What is it? So there's a top row of random numbers, and then there's a side row of random numbers. And after every quarter, what ends up happening, it's a really, really cool thing. I love this. Where after every quarter, at commercial time, or at the end of the quarter, let's say the score is 17-7. You look at the end 2 numbers, and whoever intersected at the 7 and 7, they win. There's only one winner per quarter. If the score was 3-0, then whoever had 3 and 0 intersected wins. If you had 5 and 1, you don't win. So you pick a square, you put your name on it, $5 a square, $10 a square, whatever. Obviously, the more you have, the better. And the numbers all across will be from 0 to 9 and 0 to 9. And then where they intersect is if you win. Now, somebody could say, well, that is so random. It's not a good bet. It's not that random. Okay, it's not that random. If you really know your football, there's a lot of common scores, right? You got your field goal at 3, another field goal at 6, another field goal at 9. You got a safety, which is 2. Not that common, but remember the Bronco... What game was that where the Broncos lost a safety? Was it Was it Broncos? I forget, but I remember the Broncos lost because the other team got a safety, and then that was like right out the gate, and then the rest of the game just went downhill. I forget which one that was. That was about 11 years ago, 12 years ago, I forget. But if let's say something, the average Super Bowl scores more than a field kick. There's usually a touchdown. Touchdowns are 6 points, not 7. Touchdown is 6 points. If they get the extra point, it's 7. Most of the time during Super Bowl, they get the extra point. You don't see a lot of blocked extra points during the Super Bowl. So your series of 7s, it might be a popular number. You got your 7, you got your 14, you got your 21. You got your 7-3, right? They scored a touchdown, got the extra point, and then also got the field goal. So now, well, there's your 0. So my favorite numbers are the 7, the 4, the 1, because of 21. Sometimes I like 0. But I don't like the 2 too much. I don't like the 3, with the exception of first quarter. With the exception of the first quarter, I don't like the 3. However, oftentimes the 3 might be a good one for your first quarter. Now, I am no expert at that, but this is how you have to think about it. Now, if you're like me, I always come to the Super Bowl party late. And so you're left with whatever is left, the random. 0-0. Is that a good one? Well, in roulette, I always cover my basket. For those of you who know roulette, right? I always, put something on the basket to cover 0-0 because it does happen. Not bad. If you're stuck with the 0-0, I would take it because we might have a 10-10. But it's not as common as I think having a 1 after it. I think we're going to see like a lot of 21-21s or so. I mean, there's a little bit of an art to it. Let me see what some of the experts say here. Just because I want to give you guys, the best advice here. I don't think anybody is telling us well, you know what you do? Honestly, what you do is go back and look at all the previous scores. Look at what happened with the Eagles and the Chiefs. Look at what happened and the thing about the grid is there's 4 winners because they do first, second, third, fourth quarter. Look at all the previous scores. I will do a mathematical analysis for you next year. I'm sorry. I was so busy doing the medical predictions, so cut me some slack. But go back and look at all the scores. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth. And then look at what the most common numbers are and then pick those. I think those are pretty fun. I don't have a list of the crazy prop bets. I was expecting to see that. Most of the bets are rushing yards and the over and the under and who's going to be MVP. I think Matt Stafford is considered MVP and he's not even playing the Super Bowl. I'm really impressed with Matt Stafford, though. I really am. And I bet I didn't expect the Rams to win. But I expect next year they're definitely going to go far. But the prop bets, I remember with the Chiefs, will Andy Reid eat a hamburger? Will Tom Brady be mentioned? How many times is anybody going to mention Gazelle? Is anybody going to mention his baby mama? I mean, there's so many different things. So what you can do if you want to make it interesting is do your own prop bets. Like a really good prop bet is somebody during the Super Bowl mentioning the Dr. Dahlia show. Right? That's going to be a 0, right? So bet money on that. That's got to be good. A good prop bet that a lot of people use is the color of the Gatorade. Is it going to be orange? Is it going to be green? Is it going to be, and then are you going to see the nipples, of Grable's nipples? Are you going to, whoever wins, are you going to see because of the ice? How many times is somebody going to mention ice, right, during the Super Bowl? Is Bad Bunny going to wear a dress? Is anybody going to be mentioning the alternative Super Bowl show? Is the Star Spangled Banner? I haven't seen the prop bet on that, but will the Star Spangled Banner go over a certain time, like 2 minutes and 30 seconds or not? That's a real easy bet if you know how they sing the Star Spangled Banner. Like Boyz II Men. Boyz II Men is a very predictable and awesome Star Spangled Banner. But they pretty much do the same Star Spangled Banner. So you know what they're doing, and you know their runs. You know how they hold their notes and they have a very successful Star Spangled Banner. So if they're not doing it this year, but you can pretty much figure that one out. So these are some pretty easy bets. I do believe there's going to be one on Tom Brady because Tom Brady's going to be there. And so, how many times are they going to mention Tom Brady? Because it's the Patriots playing. They're going to mention Tom Brady a lot. How many times is the camera going to show Tom Brady? I would put money on the over on that one because I think, this is, Tom Brady's team for Tom Brady's team to go to the Super Bowl since he's left is huge. Are they going to mention Bill Belichick, even though he's no longer with the Patriots? I am sure they're going to mention him at least once. So these are some bets where I think you guys could make some money. Is there going to be somebody naked running across the field? No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the security is going to be so high, so I don't think there's going to be anybody naked. Is anybody going to throw a sex toy? That's a prop bet. Is somebody going to throw a sex toy onto the field like they were doing with the WNBA, the women's, which really rude, guys. Come on, really, you're throwing sex toys to women. Aren't we sexualized enough? Let us play basketball. Let us do whatever. But is somebody going to be throwing something? And I really hope not. Let them play football. But it's going to be pretty exciting. But hopefully you guys win some money on the grid. 1-877-Dolly. Don't go away.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799, and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
Dr. Dahlia here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out. We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dahlia, 1-877-DOCDALI. So I was just in Kauai. Kauai was exquisite. There was a medical conference there. It's one of my favorite Hawaiian islands. But apparently the Hawaii Department of Health is reporting an outbreak of chickenpox. And there have been at least 5 cases reported linked to the Kilauea Elementary School, and 5 additional cases reported from 3 other schools: Hanalei Elementary, Kauai Christian Academy, and Island School. All cases involved children under the age of 18. According to health officials, 9 were unvaccinated. while one was partially vaccinated with one dose and had milder illness. So, health officials are urging families and schools to take proactive steps to limit the spread of chickenpox on Kauai. I am very grateful that they actually gave us numbers on who was vaccinated and who wasn't. Anytime we hear of these measles cases, or we hear of these cases of illnesses in children where we have vaccines for, and they don't tell us how many were vaccinated and how many weren't, I find that very frustrating because we need to know if our vaccines are working. So the cases, if they say there are 10 cases, 9 of whom happened in unvaccinated and 1 had 1 dose of the 2 dose, you get it at 1 year and 4 years old, or between 12 and 15 months and 4 and 6 years old. I remember them a little bit more. It's easier for me to remember at the 1-year-old and the 4-year-old. Then that shows that these were it wasn't an issue of the vaccine not working. Chickenpox is caused by the varicella vaccine. I, as a kid, got chickenpox. Chickenpox is a disease that is a virus that can cause very painful vesicles and blisters. Unfortunately, it caused scars. I have a lot of chickenpox scars. And it can also, if you're older, cause very severe illness. One of my friends had to be hospitalized because his chickenpox, when he was a teenager, went up and down his esophagus. The chickenpox vaccine had been controversial when it came out because many of us were thinking, well, wait a second. If you get the chickenpox, now you're immune for life. But then on the other end, it could come out as shingles. And shingles is where varicella, the virus, after you get the chickenpox, decides to lay dormant in one of your dermatomes, one of your nerve roots. And so when shingles decides to come out from stress or COVID reactivating it or something waking it up, it'll come out in that nerve root. Now, the nerve roots are one-sided. They come from the back or neck and go across that part of the body, which is why shingles you'll only see on one side of the body. You won't see shingles on 2 sides. Very rare to see shingles on both sides of the body. I don't think I've ever seen a case. I've heard of some cases, but it usually doesn't happen. And so adult shingles can be very deadly as well if it affects your ability to breathe. I've seen shingles where it completely encompasses half of the chest so the person can't breathe. I've seen it affect the eye, affect the hearing, cause blindness, hearing. And so we do want to prevent varicella infection. But chickenpox was one of those vaccines where it started to be the straw that broke the camel's back with parents. When parents were getting so many vaccines and then the chickenpox vaccine came out in the 90s, many parents were thinking another one. Whereas those of us that, had kids with chickenpox and went through all that, we were like, you know what, I think I'd like to skip chickenpox. We don't have to miss work. Kids don't get scarred up. They're not, contagious and itching and down for a week. And so it's a good vaccine. It just, unfortunately, many parents are thinking, you know what, I'd rather my kid get natural immunity. And so we are seeing, chickenpox make a comeback. With young kids, it's interesting because I'll have parents call up with their 2 or 3-year-old having a vesicular rash, and I'll say, I think it's chickenpox. And the parents are like, but they got vaccinated. I go, they got their 1-year vaccine. They haven't gotten their 4-year-old vaccine yet because they're too young. And so chickenpox can still affect those who have only had 1 vaccine. I did have one child who had a very severe case of chickenpox because the child had asthma and was on chronic steroids for his asthma, such that when he did get chickenpox, the virus spread so viciously that he had to be in the ICU. So chickenpox does scare me. And I do not, want, individuals to, unfortunately suffer if they don't have to. On the other end, I do understand parents being concerned about all the vaccines these kids are getting. And how do we build up our immunity? It's a tough question because there's so many diseases. We have so much scientific technology and medical technology, and now mRNA vaccines, where we can prevent a lot of illness and a lot of diseases. And why not prevent polio? Why not prevent tetanus? Why not prevent hepatitis? But the question is starting to come up, when is, too many vaccines too many? And, so what RFK Jr. and the CDC is doing, and the ACIP and the FDA, is they're looking at the numbers and going, well, what are, shall we say, not using the word mandatory, but what are, illnesses that we really, really are non-debatable in terms of we want to protect against? And then what are ones where there's some wiggle room on? And COVID in a 6-month-old, I don't want to see 6-month-old get COVID, but do all 6-month-old need the mRNA vaccine? So that's one of the vaccines that RFK Jr. and the CDC and the FDA are looking at. Do we still make it available to everybody, but do we recommend it as a mandatory recommendation where every kid has to get COVID vaccines? If you notice, they still haven't done that with flu. And the reason why is parents are pushing back. Many parents do not want that as a mandatory shot. I support the flu vaccine, but the flu vaccine is not 100% effective. At best, 60% on most years, anywhere between 14 and 60%. So, many schools will mandate that kids have to have their flu vaccine. But for the CDC, they recommend it, but it's not one of those vaccines that is mandatory in terms of school nationally. Why? Because parents bucket, and I think the CDC learned from COVID, and this is something that we predicted, that if you push parents too much with one more vaccine, the straw that breaks the camel's back, you're going to have parents say, you know what, I'm done with all of it. I don't trust any of it. And that mandate that we had with the COVID vaccine was so ridiculous, where Biden promised nobody would say, show me your papers. And then we're hearing at a Chick-fil-A in Northern California, people had to show proof of vaccines. It got so ridiculous that now parents are like, you know what? I don't think I trust the government anymore. So the Trump administration and RFK Jr. through MAHA is trying to figure out a way to have parents, retrust public health officials' recommendations. But we have to earn their trust. There has to be transparency. There has to be information on pros and cons and risks and benefits. What does COVID do to a 6-month-old? What does COVID do to a fetus? Let's let parents see that information and decide. Do all pregnant women need to get an additional vaccine? Is it going to help the fetus? Are there risks? What if we don't know if there's risks? If we don't know, should we use caution and tell parents to proceed, on their own risk? Or do we have enough data saying it's safe? Let that be accessible. That's what RFK campaigned on, saying we're going to have websites allowing you to take a look at the transparency of it all. Now, there are rifts between doctors, vaccine advisors, regulators. I mean, COVID vaccines should be available, but do they have to be mandated? 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA1. That's 800-JBS-USA1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA1 today.